Welcome to the most recent update on my 2015 Mustang. For those of you who follow our Instagram at Carguments, you know that I recently purchased and installed some Eibach Sportline springs. They're just lowering springs. And I also did 20 millimeter wheel spacers, some black lug nuts, and I did get the camber bolts as well. When I get it aligned, those will go on. So I want to talk about a couple things about other quick news real quick. My rear bumper is replaced. It's been fixed finally after being rear-ended. Those of you who watched the review on the towels that I did, those rapid dry towels, that's where I made the kind of just let everybody know I was rear-ended, and it's now finally fixed. So that's back to normal. But what I was gonna say, for those of you who are thinking about buying these springs and installing them yourselves, you can do it. I watched a lot of videos. American Muscle is one of the videos I watched when I first was looking into them and looking into installing them myself. They said something that really put a lot of fear into me about doing it myself. That was, they said you needed to lower the rear subframe to get the springs out. I was just like, oh man, that's way too difficult for me, someone who never works on cars. I mean, I rarely ever wrench on any cars. I just don't do it. So that really freaked me out. It really had me shy away from wanting to do the kit myself, installing the springs myself. And then I talked to a few of my buddies. They were like, I bet you don't even have to do that, and it's probably way easier than you expect. And then I watched a bunch of other videos of guys doing it themselves in their own garage, and that's something they never really talked about. They just mainly complained about the spring compressors, and you have to hammer those bolts out in the front, which I'm showing you what I'm doing now. Hammering those bolts out in the front, you have to, they're I can't remember what they're called, but basically you got to hammer them out. If you don't have a hammer, you're not getting those bolts out. And then the spring compressors. I hate compressing springs. Everybody hates doing it. It sucks. It's really hard to do, and it's kind of a dangerous thing to do. So I was really worried about doing it myself. But watching those videos and nobody complained about the rear, the big thing I was worried about, I was like, maybe I can do this myself. So I watched a couple other videos, and it looked super easy if you had the right tools. You definitely want to do it with air tools and an impact gun. That'll save you a ton of time. So that's what I did. I used the proper tools, and I went to a place here in town called Wheatcraft DIY. This place is awesome. It's a place where you can rent a lift and tools by the hour. It's $20 an hour for the lift, and then $10 an hour for tools. So if you're fast enough, it's cheaper than normal labor rates. This should have taken me about 2 hours. It took me 4, a little longer than I expected, but I got it done myself. I was able to do it myself. So that's a good feeling when you do your own work on your own car. It kind of gives you a sense of accomplishment and a little bit more pride in your car. You know you put your sweat, maybe some blood, into working on your car. So don't be afraid to do it yourself. If you're looking at doing something like this, like putting lowering springs on your S550 Mustang, do it. It's not that hard. If I can do it, you can do it. But how do they feel? How do they ride? I think they ride fine. They're a little bit tighter than the factory performance pack springs. I don't know on how like just a regular GT how those springs are, but for me, from what my car was before, I have to really think about how it rode before to notice any difference. It's not noticeable. You have to like really focus on it. The big difference is when you get on it, the dip is gone. Like before, when I would floor it, the front would lift really hard, and now doesn't do that. It stays planted. So that's nice. I haven't done anything to where I can tell if the wheel hop has gone away, but I've read that these springs do take a lot of the wheel hop away when you're really getting on it in first. So overall, the springs I love. They've done exactly what they've gotten rid of all that wheel gap. I went with the Sportlines because I read that those lower it about the most for just springs. So they've accomplished exactly what I wanted. I don't want any more wheel gap. I did go with 20 millimeter hub-centric wheel spacers. If you're looking for wheel spacers, what I've found online, the only thing you should buy is what's called hub-centric wheel spacers, because they go off the hub. They're made to fit the hub, and that's the safest way to do it. So I went with hub-centric wheel spacers, 20 millimeter. Pretty happy with how they look. Most guys with S550 Mustangs go with 25 millimeter wheel spacers. I did not, simply because I have a little bit wider tire on the rear, and I didn't want to have issues with rubbing. Some other guys in the Mustang owners group said they went with 25 millimeter spacers, the Sportline springs, and stock rims and tires for the performance pack, and they had a little bit of a rubbing issue. And some guys said they didn't. So I decided to play it a little safe. I went with 20 millimeter, just a 5 millimeters thinner. Super happy with how they look. I definitely would recommend them. Everything, I mean, I'm super happy with how it looks. I think it looks exactly how it should have from the factory. So far, the updates on the Mustang are the muffler delete, did the springs, did the wheel spacers, got black lug nuts, and I got camber bolts, but those aren't put on yet. They will be when it gets aligned. I think what I've done so far is I've made the car how I feel like it should have looked from the factory, ride height wise, the way the wheels sit. Should have came with black lug nuts with black wheels. I don't get why they didn't do that. And I'm super happy with it. Now, as far as the future goes, next I want to do intake and a tune, and probably go JLT, and then there's a VMP RevX tuner that I want to get. Everything I've heard about VMP, I've heard that their tunes are excellent, their customer service is excellent, so I think that's the route I'm going to go. Plus, my big end goal is to supercharge the car, and I want a VMP supercharger. So if I already have their tuner, it's going to work, I think, a little bit better with that going down the road. Then I want to do a couple little cosmetic things, like just tint, spoiler, and just kind of keep it clean looking. So I really want to thank you guys, because it's because of you that all this is happening. All the modifications that I'm getting to do to my Mustang. It's from your support. It's from you watching my videos. It's from you subscribing. Thank you so much for all your support, listening to our podcast, checking us out on Instagram. Our channel is just really growing a lot this year. I'm really excited about that. So thank you so much for all the support. There's going to be more to come with the Mustang, more to come with Eli's Fiesta that we reviewed a little while ago, more to come with Justin's Hellcat. Your support means the world to us, and what you're doing is really helping us live out our dreams as car guys. So thank you so much for your support. Please like, subscribe, share, do all that. Everything that you have been doing, just keep doing it. Thank you so much. Go check out our podcast. Go check out our Instagram. Have an awesome day, and thanks again.